Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. It has been a minute with Ramadan and everything that's been going on. It's kind of been hard for us to get back in the momentum, but alhamdulillah, we are here. We hope that your Ramadan was
Well,
good.
and inshallah, your dua and prayers were all been accepted.
Ameen. And your fasts.
And we see another one next year, inshallah.
Ameen, inshallah.
So let's get to the topic of the day.
So today's topic is something I found to be very interesting. So the title is Answering a Potential's Questions About Why You Got Divorced. So for the remarried or divorced folks out there, when going through the getting to know each other phase again, did potentials ask a lot of questions about your ex and why you got divorced? Would downplaying the reasons be okay Islamically? Asking this as I'll never be comfortable sharing details of why my marriage ended because there was so much trauma involved. So that's a lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
personally, you have to be honest.
Yeah.
It is. If it's something that you did wrong or someone did wrong to you, you express the feelings and some of the things that you've learned from it. But when people say trauma, stuff like that, I only assume it's physical. So if it's physical, then I don't know.
No, it could be physical. Like it could be any trauma is really broad, right? So we don't really know what it means in this situation. I just think the main question is are you Islamically, do you have to be transparent about every single detail of why your marriage ended? I think it's, for me, I'm not really too sure Islamically, but I do know that in our situation, I did ask a lot of questions. I did wonder why, what happened? Why did you guys get divorced? And what happened? So all my questions were kind of geared as to understanding what happened prior. Is that something that for you, you felt like you didn't want to share too much?
No. Islamically, I don't know the exact details, but I'm assuming that the men or the women have the right to know at least the basic level, why you got divorced.
Yeah.
Divorce is not something that we should treat lightly. If you got divorced, a lot of the time people do not want to repeat the same mistake. So if you divorce someone because he's a lazy person, he doesn't like to work, you want to ask the next person if they are hard worker and not lazy. So personally, I wanted you to ask as many questions as you want, and I'll give you the answer.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff that are, why do you think? I don't know. I mean, I can only tell you what I know about myself.
Yeah,
why I felt this did not work.
Yeah.
The other person can have a different opinion, but that's their. And
I think that's very important because while he was telling me all of his side of the story, I knew in my head that there's two sides to every story. So it's not like I'm just not that I'm not believing you, but I believe that it takes two. No, not that I wasn't believing you, is that it takes two to get married, but it also takes two to for a marriage to end. I don't think it's just one person to blame. You know what I mean? I think each party's had some involvement as to why the marriage failed.
One person that initiates and wants to push that.
But there's a reason why that person got to where they were.
Yeah,
right?
There's always one person.
That's what I mean.
It's really rare that you see both parties want to split.
Yeah.
It's always either one forces to the person, and if the person doesn't react, then the law and the court will get involved.
Yeah.
But so personally, obviously I never shared my story in full detail, but
the important things
in
the answer. There's still stuff that I think till today we discover and we talk about that happened or whatever, right? And I just think it's the same thing as you sharing your past with a person you're meeting, right? So you could be talking about how you went to school, how you didn't go to school, why you didn't go to school. So I think all those things that make you who you are today are very important to know for this person that you're considering marrying. As much as it might be uncomfortable to answer why your marriage failed, because I don't think that's easy for anyone to ever give that answer. especially if in this situation there's trauma involved, right? Like it's never comfortable, but I feel like it's very important and it's crucial to your next marriage if that's what you're planning to get
So
into.
let me ask you, if you were asking me a question
Yeah.
and I said to you, there was a lot of trauma and I don't want to answer, would you just accept that as an answer?
For a while. For a while.
So you would.
I would give you time.
So you would get married and let this
no,
person. Obviously.
No, for a while in the sense of like, obviously we're gonna talk and get to know each other. So that first time I ask you, let's say you say, oh, you know what, like this is very uncomfortable for me. Like I'm not very comfortable sharing that. Okay, but we're just talking, right? But the moment you and I decide we're gonna take things the next level and like we now want to involve families, before we involve families, I'm gonna ask you that question again. And this time I expect you to answer it, maybe in different settings whenever you're ready. Like I'll give you some time, but I still would want to know what happened, right?
Yeah, because your definition of trauma might be different than mine, right?
Yeah,
because it's obviously when two people get together, you have to be transparent and fully honest.
Yeah.
I can't just say there was a trauma and I don't want to talk about it. You don't have to go into details if you don't want to, but you have to give the surface, at least the general, the general
idea of what happened.
But obviously, as a man, if someone tells me if I'm going to be with someone that is divorced and she said trauma, I'm automatically going to be assuming it was a physical thing.
Yeah, because maybe that's your definition of what trauma means, but there's other people, like it could be mental abuse, it could be he was a narcissist, like it could be a lot of things. He or she, sorry, was a narcissist, right? So I think there's a lot that goes into that word and everybody defines it differently. But for me, I was not shy to ask the questions, guys. Well, like, do you think I was? Like, I think I asked you, like, I was constantly probing because I was just like, I want to know because I know my family will ask me. So I just wanted to know everything from his side so I can, when they do ask me, it's not like I didn't do my homework on getting to know him. And obviously, I feel like marriage in general is just complicated. So things happen, but
yeah, I mean, when she was asking questions, I was also trying to provide more information, thinking that this next question can be answered. So I was trying to give her as much as I can, and and explain to her I was young, did a lot of mistake, didn't have a lot of guidance. I wasn't using that as an excuse, but it's to give her a general idea to why it happened. And also, after my first divorce, I took 5 years of not wanting to get married, just work on myself. Deal with my daughter and making sure she was happy, established exactly. Yeah. So build a life with my daughter.
Yeah.
Because before getting married, I wanted to make sure that my daughter was not traumatized, or I still have, but I had the full custody. So I wanted to make sure I know what I'm doing. Jumping to a new relationship right away
is not ideal.
It's not ideal for
just suffered a divorce and also is permanently with her father, right? So there's a lot for him to consider. And I think for me, the biggest part of why I kind of knew that whatever you were telling me was honest, because like I said, I'll never know, right? I wasn't in that marriage with you guys for me to know, but I think you had a lot of accountability. Like you were able to sit there and be like, you know what, like I messed up this way, like I did this, I could have done this better, and it takes a lot for someone to say, and I think those 5 years definitely helped to think back on everything. But that was the biggest thing for me, was you weren't just saying like he did this and she, you know what I mean?
I don't gain nothing by just putting all the blame on the other person. I don't get nothing. First, I know what I did wrong, and I know for sure what I did wrong. But if you don't need other people to tell you what you did wrong. Of course, no. If you're able to sit down and analyze what you did when it comes to you, and be honest with yourself. But if you are the type of person that said, no, she left, I don't care, she's not, then you're not really
honest. It's also red flag. Like if you downplay a marriage, like a divorce. For me, anyways, in that situation, it would have been a red flag. So I think, be honest, like, praise Khara and just leave it up to Allah to just be like, okay, I'm gonna answer these questions as honestly as I can. And then the right person will still decide to move forward, regardless of what happened, but at least that person now knows what they're getting themselves into and how to help you heal from the traumas that you have experienced too, right? Because it plays a factor in like things that maybe you experienced in your first marriage, or you're like, I definitely don't want in my second marriage. So for me to know that helped me kind of know where our marriage would go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And inshallah, you know, whoever that person is, you know,
Oh,
they'll find their peace and
yeah.
common ground. And
Sometimes we find comfort in the uncomfortable situations, and I think part of growing up is facing those situations as much as we might not want to, but khair, inshallah, may Allah make things easy for you.
so anyway, we'll conclude on this episode,
Yeah,
and
today's
inshallah,
episode.
don't forget to follow, subscribe, and comment as always, and
It feels good to be back, and inshallah, we'll be keeping the momentum going.
inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum,
Assalamu alaikum.
everybody. Have a great day.